Community Heart Media. Your voice, your heart, your opportunity. Welcome to tonight's show.
Okay, we're back here on Community Heart Radio. Very excited about the week, but our hearts have been torn. It's been devastation to see on the TV what's happened over in Turkey. And I know some of us have got family and friends and that know about it and are connected. But tonight we've got someone all the way from Turkey going to give us a real live insight. And well, welcome tonight. Just don't want to get it too heavy, but it is a devastating subject with over 20,000 people have died. Julio, mate, it's really sad and devastating when you see the TV, eh?
Yes, you're right there, Mark. It's a very bad situation, especially these sort of events, because no one can plan for anything like that. It's like immediate, quite quick, and very powerful. So all my heart goes out to you, G. It's really amazing that you're actually here tonight with us, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, Kelly, and earthquake, and it's been just great. I'm going to introduce G in a sec, but yeah, it's just been horrific to see the scenes on TV, hey? And good evening to you, Kelly.
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much to all our listeners and viewers for Community Heart Media and 98.9 Northwest FM. And thank you so much, G, for joining us. And yeah, Mark and Julio, I will delve into deeper my experiences with earthquakes as well, and I can imagine what G is going through. But just seeing a lot of those videos and images, it doesn't even begin to tell the story of what's actually happening over there.
So, G, welcome to Community Heart Radio. We feel very privileged to have you, especially at this time. Where are you in Turkey? What's your situation over there where you are right now?
Okay, good evening, everyone. I appreciate you guys doing this, and thank you very much for having me on the show. I'm currently in Istanbul, Turkey, northwest of the country. We were not affected by the earthquake, but obviously, in terms of other senses, we have been really affected, not only emotionally, but also in terms of work as well. Like the last week, life stopped for us too, because people have been, running to help with the rescue operations and help with providing donations and just some lines of work, like especially in the entertainment industry, anything with music stopped because it was a week of mourning.
Mm-hmm. So what's the feeling over there? I mean, must affect everyone. Must have someone impacted on by the disaster, eh?
Yes. Firstly, I apologize if I get emotional because I did lose some friends in the earthquake.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, look, it must be horrific there. And, there's a lot of rescue going on. There's some great scenes of people that have been rescued, but there's obviously some other horrific scenes of people that haven't survived this terrible event.
Yeah. Well, picture this. 15 million people were affected directly. 15 million.
15 million.
Yes. All in that area. The death toll is actually up to about 40,000 to date right now. Hundreds, I think over 100,000 were rescued. There's over 100,000 wounded, and there's still said to be over 100,000, like hundreds of thousands under the rubble still. And it's day 10. It's like, from what we can see, 24/7, that's all we're getting, the images from the earthquake, like live operations. And what you see on the screen is something else, but we have people who we know who are there, and they say it's just like a cemetery, and it's starting to reek. Like there's other factors as well beyond the rubble, beyond the death. It's actually a health risk as well now. There's tent cities being established to, house the people that have been left homeless. You've got, we weren't able to think straight to, although we weren't directly affected, we weren't in the area, but people there can't think straight too right now. Not all houses have collapsed, like more than 10,000 are reported to be collapsed in those areas. And some of them are affected, but they're still standing. So some people are now going back into their homes, risking their lives to take furniture or what belongings they may have because they're left with nothing.
Yeah. G, can you just tell us, where were you when it all happened? What was going on for you when the earthquake actually occurred?
Okay, the earthquake occurred, it was about 4:16 a.m. reported to happen. So I was sleeping, but I'm in Istanbul and we didn't feel it. Normally what happens in an earthquake is it hits one epicenter and the other areas feel the vibrations if they're in the area. But this hit 10 areas with the same intensity, 10 provinces with the same intensity. So it was like 10 separate earthquakes.
Wow.
At 4:16 a.m. when everyone was sleeping. So no one was prepared. And in terms of where I am now, the big earthquake was expected in Istanbul and we're still waiting for it. So scientists are saying it's coming, be prepared for it. And another effect of this earthquake has been that I hear it from my friends too. I'm an insomniac. I've actually, managed it well until now, but the last, after these events, it's kicked in again because I can't sleep until morning thinking, what if an earthquake happens?
Yeah.
It's freaking us out. Like a lot of people are suffering in that sense. And, especially mothers with children, they're thinking, where should we lay them so they can escape quickly and easily? There's just too many aspects to what happened.
But how do you prepare for an earthquake there, G? What are they telling you to do to prepare for an earthquake?
Oh, personally, there's information sent out. They tell us how to, cover for protection. We are informed that we shouldn't stand next to windows. We should go into the fetal position next to a sturdy furniture. Like if we're in bed, go down next to the bed. If there's a sofa, go down next to the sofa, lay down in the fetal position. And just form a safe triangle, like maybe with a coffee table. So if anything falls, you're protected. It falls on the furnitures and you're under it.
It is very exhausting, isn't it, G? Before we were on air, I've shared very, very briefly, and by no means anything compared to what's happening there, but was in the Christchurch earthquake myself over in New Zealand in the red zone. And like you said, those health risks, I still remember, it's coming up to 11 years ago actually, hot summer day and having no access to water, the sewage pipes burst and everything, things like that, those things that we take for granted and you just don't know which way to turn, and the impact, as you said, that it has not just on that direct city, but to many other cities as well.
Yeah. One other thing adding, injury to what happened was we're in the middle of winter. And that area is probably one of the coldest areas in the country.
What temperatures does it get to, G?
It was down to -8 degrees when I last checked. Yeah. So it's in the minus degrees Celsius, and it was actually snowing. It hinders rescue operations as well. Doesn't make it any easier. One of my friends, she's actually a Zumba instructor as well, a very young girl. She was rescued, but on the way to the hospital in the ambulance, she lost her life due to hypothermia.
Oh, wow.
So that's a
That's right to
huge
hear that.
problem. Impacting survival as well.
Wow.
Gee. So, G, what do you do in Turkey? What's your job? And tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm a linguist. I've been doing translations, mostly freelance, for the last 20 years. On top of that, I teach Zumba, actively teach Zumba classes, both here and in Australia when I was in Australia. I actually just got back from Melbourne 3 months ago. Was there for a year with family.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So my classes have stopped. So for another week, we won't be teaching Zumba classes out of respect, and we're just not in that morale.
Completely understandable.
So tell us what's sort of going on in the on the streets and there. Obviously, people are going to help rescue. Who goes? Who doesn't go? What's sort of happening in the I mean, obviously it's a big area of a lot of people, so not everyone can go and help. But so just give us a bit of an idea what's actually going on there in Istanbul.
Okay. So there's two outstanding organizations, that stand out. One is AFAD. It's the government's, disaster assistance organization. And then there is also an NGO called AFAP, which is
Okay.
actually, very huge, loved by the public, very reliable. And so there was one country always has earthquakes. It happens like every year, but it's never been this big. This is the disaster of the century. It was huge. But there was another huge one in 1999. Back in
Wow.
1999, in towards the Istanbul area, the northwest. And after that, they decided, to train people on how to work in rescue operations, how to remove people from rubble. So in order to be able to help at the moment, be part of the rescue operations, you need to have taken that training. So both these organizations that I've mentioned have, thousands of people that they've trained, but it's not enough. We're talking about 15 million people.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why there have been a lot of rescue teams, crews coming from overseas as well, from other countries.
Wow.
And what sort of rescue do they? What can they be helping with, G?
Okay. What they help with, in addition to helping remove people from under the rubble, they look for signs of life. They've got this device where they can listen into beneath the concrete and see here if there's any life there. They've actually got rescue dogs as well who can go in to where humans can't, and then they give signals that yes, there's humans there, they're alive, and you can rescue them, which actually helps with getting out more people in a shorter span of time, because time is very important, and we're on day 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
G, we might get you to read out this message. We've got a message here from maybe Anne.
Yes. Okay, they're saying that they're watching the program from Turkey, and they're thanking Mark Watt for mentioning the earthquakes in Turkey, so that they appreciate what you were doing right now.
Oh, we're thinking about everyone in Turkey. I mean, our thoughts are with you all over there, and we'll have to think about what we can do. And here's a very special person to me, actually, just gave a message. Handon, she's actually my lovely foster daughter. So she's just made a comment. So let's see what she's got to say. And I'm so sorry for your loss, family. Oh, there you go. So she's got family members there. Do you know that place?
I do. I've actually been to every single one of them, every single one of the affected areas I traveled to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And the people in those areas are some of the most hospitable people in this country. They're just so beautiful. Like when we ask for a hotel, you don't know them. They're strangers, and they say, "Come stay at my house. You don't need to stay at a hotel." They'll open their homes to strangers, and now they need help. So yeah, that's why. As you asked, Mark, what's happening, around the country in terms of the earthquake? You've got organizations, companies like gyms, they're all working together with their community to take help to those areas, because these people are going to be living in tents for months, very, very, very long months. And considering it's winter, they're going to have essential needs beyond today.
Yeah.
A lot. Like there's cancer patients as well, and I've been seeing some reports about them. They have special needs. Some of them haven't been able to get their treatment because of what has happened. Medication is a problem. A lot of medication is needed.
And this is great, G. I think we want to know what we need over there. And Handon said that she loved me, but I want to send all my love back to the people of Turkey as well. Handon, for you and your family, the love that you just sent to me there, I want to send back to the extended family back in Turkey, because I know you've got family members and friends over there. We're keen to hear from people that want to ask a question or make a comment. You might know people in Turkey. You may know people who have been affected. Here's your time to ask any question, to make any comment. And G, Honey just says thanks for the support. That's great. But yeah, G, what sort of support do you think we can give from Australia? And I don't know whether Handon knows who she's trying to put support through over here in Australia, but what sort of support do you think the world can give Turkey at the moment from where you sit?
Prayers, of course, but every contribution in terms of financially means so much, because for starters, the Turkish currency is very weak. And we do, source a lot of things from abroad, so it's dollar based, and the country has been getting very expensive. It's becoming very unaffordable for people living here at the same time. And now in this case, any money that can contribute to getting by every day means, because these people aren't going to be able to work. They don't have a workplace anymore. Most of them don't.
Do you think it's practical things, G? I'm thinking about the weather over there in terms of warm supplies, clothing, blankets, anything that can be shipped over there, particularly for those in the tents as well?
Yeah, Kelly, people have been very generous. It's been 10 days. There's like truckloads coming from all over the country and even Australia. The Turkish community in Australia is amazing, and they're very, very emotional. And they sent I think it left the country yesterday. They had 3 huge containers full of brand new tents, mats, sleeping bags, and blankets and quilts, because they're going to be needed. Now, the thing here is there's an overload of those, like everything, clothes and everything, because everyone has been donating them. We need to think about in the long term. Some people have been, like people who have a hold in the community, any influence in the community, have been collecting money personally from their own community, and have been renting homes for like 6 months, rent paid, a year rent paid, and they put furniture in them, fill the fridge, and at least that way they're supporting them. But we don't know how they're going to, find food the months later. Regardless, you can't find a home for everyone. Most people are still going to remain in the tents. They're going to need nappies for babies. They're going to need food, like mostly packaged foods, dry foods, toilet paper. Women are going to need sanitary pads, underwear, just anything that you can think of, even toothpaste. One other friend said he went to one area asking what they needed. A lot of people said we need chargers for our phones. We can't, communicate with our family.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So everything, basically.
Yeah, that's great, G. And Andrew wanted to know the same, answering your question, really, what us as individuals can do. If you're listening in Turkey and you want to add to the list of things you need, we'd love to hear from people from Turkey that are listening to the show. Or if you like Handon and you're from Turkey but you live in Australia and you've got some ideas or some means or connections of people we can support that are supporting people in Turkey, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from all our listeners. Any comments and questions or anything they want to say, we'd love to hear from you guys. And it's such an important time to sort of stop and think, okay, 40,000 people have been affected over there. Wow, we must be able to help. And I see there's another message. Gee, I'm going to have to get you to read it out again. I'm interested to hear what it's got to say.
Okay. It's saying earthquake is a very bad disaster. Our country is going through a tough time. We particularly need medication. I'm in Adana. Rather than clothes, donations can be made to UP, which is the NGO I mentioned, and Red Crescent, which is the equivalent of Red Cross here in Australia. And AFAD is the government's disaster assistance organisation, which is also the one I'm in. So, yeah, in terms of donations, I particularly point out AFAD because it's an NGO, it's not non-governmental. It, everyone likes it, they're happy with it, there's no bias.
Yeah, while we're waiting for G, we might just quickly, Kelly, do you want to read out Andrew's note?
Yeah, and I think Andrew has a really good point. I was just going to ask G this myself. For those who know of the Turkish and Syrian community here in Australia, how can we best offer emotional support to those in Australia who have lost loved ones or who have otherwise been emotionally impacted? And offer support to the Turkish Syrian community here. G, can you hear me okay there?
Yes, I can hear you. How about you?
Good, absolutely fine. G, do you have any suggestions, and to anyone who may be listening over in Syria and Turkey at the moment, how can we offer emotional support to those here?
For those in Australia, I think just be mindful and understanding. I do remember seeing one gentleman who was helping out in the Australian Turkish community, and he was helping, but he was crying at the same time. And they asked him what happened. He said, "I lost 80 members in that earthquake, 80 members of my family." So people in Australia, the community in Australia, Syrian or Turkish, they still have strong ties to the community in Turkey. They have a lot of family here. I understand it's difficult. Being here is difficult to an extent, but being over there and having ties to a country like 14,000 kilometers away is difficult because you feel too far away. You can't do anything. The helplessness. I know a lot of people are unable to continue on with work. They just
I-
can't cope.
I was just going to say, G, in terms of work, what about, financial support and things too over there, but then also here?
In terms of financial support for people there, I really don't know if it's needed. But here, donate to anywhere you can. ARPA truly is one of the best ones. ARFAD is a good one. You can donate. I know some organizations that have donated to the Turkish consulate in Melbourne. So that would usually go to the Red Crescent, as far as I know.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of different things out there. We'll have to put some links on a bit later. And gee, if you've got any links to organisations, and I'm hoping
I
my
do.
friends from Melbourne that are Turkish might know how they're trying to help. And if we can help you, and you actually know people in Turkey that need help, I'm sure that's the best way of giving, where we can give it directly.
Yes.
It's really, really good. And we're going to go in a minute to get some Julio's got some images that we want to have a look at. But gee, I'll tell you what, this is devastating, but it is so good that we can, even though we're 14,000 miles away, gee, great to have you here. Great to have people from Turkey making comments, and people from Turkey that are in Australia making comments, and then those of us that are sort of part of the Australian community that want to help are involved in this conversation as well. So it's a really good, don't you reckon, Kel? It's sort of what community is all about, and now we can be a global community because of these
100%.
online devices.
I was just going to say that's a blessing of having these online devices. And I think your point, G, we were saying about the phone charges, brings back memories now. I remember that, where there was no internet, no electricity, same as you, and sort of lost my friend and had to just grab whatever I could and drive in my car through where there were roads. And so things like that, where you want to be able to communicate to say you're safe as well and what you need.
Julio, we might go to you, mate, and maybe show us some images that, obviously these are some things we've seen, but just to really what we're talking about here. So these are some of the affected areas, GA.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And but
all those
what, how many earthquakes did you say? It was about 15 of them. Or
10, but then 10 hours later, another one of almost the same impact happened in the same 10 cities again.
Wow.
So it was 2 earthquakes 10 hours apart in the same areas.
Yeah, shocking, isn't it? And yeah, look at that, hey? It's just devastating.
Yep.
And you're saying people are going back into some of these buildings, even though they might fall over as well, eh?
Exactly, because they've got nothing left. They're like, we've got no choice. We need to take what we can from our homes.
Julio, just go back a couple of slides to those buildings. Yeah, that one there. Yeah, I mean, I saw a little video of people that are actually too scared to go back in their homes because they think it might fall down as well. So, I think a lot of people are living on the streets just in fear. Would that be the case, Chi?
It is. My cousin lived in Hatay, the Mediterranean one, just down the bottom. And it was one of the very badly affected areas. And his house didn't fall down. It didn't collapse. But he is afraid to go back. He's like, I can't go back into that house.
All the foundations are shaken, and yeah. I was just going to ask you, G, as well, what advice has the government given to people such as yourselves on the outer skirts, in terms of not only the safety, but any warnings, anything that you need to be mindful of as well?
Yes, misinformation, social media. Yeah, because you have people just posting and sharing everything. And I don't know how to express it. You have people from all sorts of who hold different views politically, religiously, or just like individually. And like this earthquake is like an excuse. I don't think that's the right word, but it causes problems. Like what people share cause problems. Sometimes it's
like adding fuel to the fire, so to speak, and
yes,
a tool to open up something.
It's not what we're supposed to be focusing on. It's true. You know, corrupt buildings, like why were some buildings still standing while others weren't in the same area? There are infrastructure problems. Yes, earthquake is a major problem in Turkey, but there's other problems too. And we all know this, but this is not the focus at the moment. The focus is saving lives and sustaining them. Not a time to fight. It's a time to show solidarity.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have a lot of invalid information going on. Like you have people putting up their own phone numbers or their own account numbers under the, you know, donation accounts and taking the money themselves. So even at a time like this, you have thieves. So there's so that was one of the cautions, just you know, keep away from oversharing everything and anything, you know, especially people not in the area, in the earthquake area, because we can't do much. We're just constantly sharing anything we see, but there's wrong telephone numbers there, there's fake information there, fake reports of people under the rubble. One other warning to us was, as soon as the earthquake happened, was don't use the phone lines, don't use SMS to text, leave them open for people, you know, in the earthquake areas to use. And we were also told, if you're in the earthquake area, open your Wi-Fi, you know, take off the password, remove the password so people can access your internet to get in contact.
Yeah. I'd say the whole thing is about grieving as well. And I might get you to read some of these places, because I think the maps that Julio put up maybe triggered Handon. She's mentioning, I think these are parts of Turkey, are they, she's talking about?
Yeah, Adana and Iskenderun. Iskenderun is in Hatay. They're actually like neighboring provinces. And she says her family is from there. My family, I'm so sad, want to cry. Okay, and in Turkish, yeah. She says, you know, words don't suffice. Seeing my country in these pictures hurts me so badly. I can't say anything.
And that's a lot of pain that's going on. And someone that's lived in Australia, now you live in Turkey, you understand this pain, you know, us watching it here from Australia that have got family back there, have lived back there, and you actually living there amongst the pain. It's just really hard, eh?
Look, regardless, when the bushfires in Australia happened in Melbourne, Victoria, actually, a few years back, I was here still in Turkey then, and I felt the pain the same way, because my family's been in Australia for 50 years, half a century. Wow. And I was born and raised there. And you have some kind of attachment to your origins. It hurts. I mean, I mentioned elsewhere, we all feel the pain. We all feel pain the same way. We all hurt the same way. We all cry the same way. We may be different, but we're all the same, actually. We feel pain the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Now, I don't know if this is a good time to be sort of talking about some of the, you know, you're a Zumba instructor. I'm totally inspired by that. Some of the fundraising and different things that are going on here in Melbourne, if we wanted to share anything, you know, so people can have some fun at the same time as being able to support people like yourself. And you mentioned about the entertainment industry and music, one of those industries that is finding it hard in the workforce. So definitely want to be able to help there. Julio, I'm not sure if you can bring up anything with some of those fundraisers that are going to be happening across Melbourne.
Yeah, I'll put them online on the Facebook account now, so people could go ahead and register themselves against those.
So if everyone is
online.
interested in taking part and supporting those as well.
Yeah, it's a great idea. So just tell us a bit about it, G. What's happening that we can share? What sort of these Zumba things all about? Obviously a fundraiser for people in Turkey.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys asked that. It's actually a beautiful initiative by one of my good friends. And actually, I have quite a few of them working together on this. As you can see, it's put a smile on my face because it's a community getting together. Instructors from all parts of Melbourne are coming together, which is not very usual. They usually stay in their own areas and work with their own community there, but the community is coming together and they're getting a great response. This Sunday, it's going to be a Zumbathon. So 90 minutes, various instructors, they're going to get together at Push Fitness. Yes, that's right. That's where it was. And the price is $20. And they've got all of the proceeds are going to go to donations to Turkey. So I'll explain a bit about that in a minute as well. So there's two options. Some people want to donate to the Red Cross. The Red Cross's Turkey earthquake appeal. And some of them directly want to donate to us. It's a special designated account, and you can donate to there.
What happens with that money we donate directly to you? What's the plans? Because that sounds like a really good thing for me. I reckon that'd be where I'd put my donation.
Me too.
Exactly, because okay, first thing first, we weren't able to say definitely it's going to go to this. The worst case, it's going to go to Up, the most reliable, most trusted, and most active non-governmental organization in Turkey.
Yeah.
But we actually want it to directly go to somewhere we can see or know. But we need to wait a little bit more to see clearer what's needed, what's going to be needed, probably by the end of this week. We're hoping I don't know if rescue operations will be over by then, but we'll have a clear report and a clear vision of what is needed the most. Because right now we are getting news that there's a lot of clothes, there's a lot of pillows, there's a lot of this, there's a lot of food, but we need to know what's going to be needed in the long run.
Okay, so it's Zumba on Sunday. It's going to be on our Facebook page. And Julio, you'd be going, of course, would you? You put a few bucks on there, have you, mate?
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'm not sure about how good a Zumba dancer I'll be, but we'll see.
Okay, doesn't matter.
I thought you'd be very good at Zumba, Julio, and I'm sure you want to support G over there in Turkey and all the other people affected by this terrible tragedy.
Yeah, I totally agree. It'd be awesome just to put your hands up and deliver. You
don't need to go. You can just donate if you don't want to go. Yeah.
Well, the good thing about Julio is he's going to donate and go. So what are you wearing? What would you wear on Sunday, Julio, to the Zumba thing? Have you got a little Zumba outfit you're going to wear?
Oh, just normal clothes that an American guy would wear. Just go out there and show off that.
Kelly, are you going? Are you going to support this great cause?
I am. I definitely am. And I'm going to be dancing and enjoying myself. Hope to see you there, Mark, as well.
Yes, well, I'm going to be a donator. I'm not sure I'm going to be a Zumberer, but G, we've got another message that we're going to have to get you to read out from our friend over there in Turkey. Really appreciate you sending these messages through. We really want to hear from people, especially if they've got, some things they want to share for people in Turkey or they're from Turkey wanting to share with us. So let's have a read of this one. We're just going to put it on for us, and here we are.
Housing is a big problem here in the earthquake areas because of the winter conditions. if donations are made in terms of money, they will contribute to the container houses and the tents here. Up help tents and container cities. Okay, Up built tents and container cities. Thank you for your support on behalf of the earthquake victims.
Yeah, fantastic. Really appreciate you bringing this to us. And I'm hoping that our friends at Community Heart, we can dig deep, because it's a very worthwhile cause with over 40,000 people dying, countless people homeless, lots of people injured, and many thousands and, well, as you say, millions of lives have been affected by this, G.
Yeah, 15 million. So about half of Australia's entire population when you look at it.
Wow, when you say it like that. I was just going to ask you, G, what about the medical services there? When you say half of Australia, 15 million people.
Yeah. Now in the earthquake area,
Mm.
okay. I can't remember anything about that at the moment. We're bombarded with news 24/7. This is all we have on TV.
Yeah.
It's all we have on TV, and we're just constantly seeing people recover. When you say hospital, I just blanked out, because the only thing that comes to my mind is the hospital that collapsed in Iskenderun, Hatay, the Mediterranean city, and yes, another information about that. A hospital collapsed in the earthquake, and people died in the hospital.
Wow.
I know someone who lost both his father and his brother in that hospital, and he was saying hospitals are there to, save lives, not take them. And I lost 2 lives in that earthquake in that hospital. What I hear is as I mentioned before, the hospitals reek. There's a lot of bodies. And at one stage, they didn't have enough shrouds to bury the people in. A lot of bodies, guys. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to say this with a straight face if it was a few more days ago. Just yesterday, I started, I have to hold myself together. But that's the truth. That's the reality. There's bodies everywhere, hospitals and outside.
Yeah.
It's, well, gee, we're coming. We've got another sort of 8 minutes or so left on the show, so we're coming to an end. We'd love to hear from you if you want to send a message to us as we start winding up, because this has been a very powerful and just a heart-wrenching issue, and makes us sort of want to know how we can help. But certainly thinking our prayers and thoughts and even our action, which is really important. If we can put something together, as I said, on our Facebook page, we're going to have a link to the donations, and I'm hoping we're going to support G, and she's then explained how she's going to support others. So, and G's, so we'll put that up there. It's really important. And if you like Julio and you like Zumbaing, and especially it'd be good to see Julio in that special outfit. So you want to see Julio doing the Zumba, go on Sunday afternoon. That would be worth going to, actually, seeing Julio in action. So hopefully we'll get a full house there, a lot of people supporting us.
One more thing about the donations, they will be documented. Where it goes will be documented with photos, with receipts, everything. So I just wanted to put that forward too.
Not a problem. And G, what do you think that you are going to need over the next coming months in terms of support for you? Because I can completely understand that emotional needs as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm fine. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, at least we're really thinking of you guys, and we're trying to, if we can get the Turkish family over here together and help. And I think Handon says right that we can put it on our own Facebooks and share it as well, that would be great. So Hanny wants to put it on my Facebook. We'll put it on the Community Heart one, and then we can share it on our individual ones. It's one way of promoting, and it's a good idea, isn't it, Julio?
Yeah, you're right, Mark. Tora, I've already posted on Facebook, so it's up on the line if people want to go there and register and go for it and enjoy the night. Please do, and all this money is great to go ahead for charity.
And Kelly, it's 4:00 on Sunday at Docklands. Hey, that'd be a good little spot for a Zumba. The weather's looking pretty good for a Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. And so if anyone does, I was saying to G earlier and to all our listeners and viewers out there, if anyone does miss tonight's show, they can go back and watch it on the Community Heart Media radio show website and Facebook page and YouTube and LinkedIn. And if they want to find out those fundraising details as well and the link to the Zumbathon, whether they want to go or they want to donate or they want to be donating to those organisations that G has mentioned as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And look, our thoughts are with you there. And what time's it over there in Turkey at the moment, G?
It's midday, almost 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Yeah, and so
8 hours behind.
And so what will happen? Like, it's a work day today for you, but there's not, most people aren't working. It's all sort of focused on what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, like my husband's working, but because I teach Zumba full time here. I haven't been teaching for the last 10 days, and we're not scheduled to start back until next week. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it really is affecting everybody over there. And well, our hearts are with you. We might start winding up now and, just maybe get some final thoughts, I suppose. Kelly, I know it's triggered you. You've been involved with an earthquake, and now you're hearing directly from people over there in Turkey about it. So it's it's tough, eh?
Yeah, it is. And gee, I can completely relate to the sleeping as well. I know many of us, and you're sharing about your friend not being able to go back into that apartment. Many of us had that for a long time afterwards. And I just want to say to anyone in Turkey watching and to anyone in Australia, one thing I found helpful was I lost my place to live in as well. And someone was had to, as I said, pack my car with whatever I had and drove up the country of New Zealand, and someone offered for me to stay there. And that was amazing, not having a roof over your head. So can very much empathise. So I think those practical things are really, really beneficial as well.
Yeah. And it's also very difficult. Imagine you've got everything and in moments it's all gone and you rely on something someone else is going to give to you.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Yeah.
Julio, anything more from you, mate, before we start wrapping it up?
Well, thanks very much for coming on the program, G. It's been very enlightening and sort of also, I know it's a somber moment, but it's great to see that so many people want to get involved and help. I know it doesn't make much of a comfort when you lose everything, but at least hopefully it brings comfort for those to understand that everybody's out there trying to do their best to help. And like you said, just make sure you stick to those pages that actually help fundraise correctly, not money for themselves. Yeah.
It's
G, we've got sorry, you go, G.
No, it's just nice to know that we're not alone.
And we've got our friend over in Turkey giving us another message, which I'll need you to read out as well.
Yeah, they just said Syria was affected by the earthquake too. It would be nice if, donations could be made for them as well. Well, as far as I know, the Zumbathon, part of the donations, they did mention might go to Syria. I just don't know. We need someone who will, be involved in that respect.
Yeah. Do you know much about what's happening in Syria, G? Have you got any insights into the Syria stuff? Because that sounds pretty bad as well. Obviously, over 5,000 people dying.
Yeah, Syria was already devastated because it's a war-torn country and there's actively war going on in that country. So they were already suffering, and this just adds to the injury. I have had people mention it, but the thing is, we are so preoccupied with what's happening at home right now. I don't know too much details, but I do know Syria was affected as well, and that they are already devastated.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Well, do appreciate you coming on to Community Heart Radio, and appreciate all the people that contributed tonight with the messages and the heart. And our hearts go out to people over there in Syria and Turkey, and those people from Syria and Turkey living in Australia with family back there, where our thoughts are with you as well. And I think some practical help for the people in Turkey and Syria would be really, really the way to go. So if you can't go to the Zumba, please get onto our page and make a donation, or go to the Zumba and make a donation as well. So there are your two options. I'd hate to think that people won't support Turkey and Syria at this time. So, G, thanks again for coming, and just keep in touch, and anything we can do to help over here, please let us know.
Thank you
Thank you
all
so
for
much,
doing this.
G, for coming on the show, and likewise, let us know how we can help. And to anyone over there as well, put messages up on our any of our social media pages, and how we here in Australia can help support you the best we can, what you need.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see all our regulars next week on Community Heart Radio, 98.9 Northwest FM. Thanks for joining us, and please support the Syria and the Turkey earthquake victims.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Tune in every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m, or watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and follow us on LinkedIn and other social media.